What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this, I wanted to break down what's going on with Tesla stock, what's going on with SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers, how the market may move as time goes on. But before I break anything down, all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. This offer ends in just about 8 days from now, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the markets. Looking at Tesla, this thing is currently down about 0.12%, and I think that the overall structure of Tesla will likely lead to a more bearish outcome. But for now, we're going to be watching to see if this supports at the 50 EMA on the 4-hour time frame ends up holding Tesla for now. Now, for now, Tesla might try to make an attempt to hold up, but I believe that in the future, there's likely some downside coming, and that's going to be the same for the market. The market is going to have a very healthy pullback. We're not quite there yet, but I just wanted to call out that the market may remain range bound. We could even see another pump thanks to Jerome Powell's speech on Wednesday, but ultimately, the market's still in the topping process, and even if we do get one more little pump, it's going to be minor, and the market is due for a pullback. It's going to be coming very soon. So I'm going to be breaking down why that is and how it may look on SPY and stuff. For now, let's talk about the market and what's going on. So we have Barr, Jeffrey, Waller, Williams, and Logan all giving speeches for today. We have a bunch of Fed speakers, but two important pieces of data to be the economic optimism reports for November coming out at 11 o'clock a.m. And then at noon for Eastern Standard Time, we have the total household debt for Q3. Now, for Wednesday, which is going to be tomorrow at 10:15 a.m., we have Jerome Powell giving a speech. We will see what that causes, so be prepared for anything just to be safe for that day. When it comes to earnings, we have Uber announcing mixed earnings. Most of the other stocks out there are quite decent. And we have Rivian announcing earnings later on today. And then we have, Disney and AMC for Wednesday. A couple of things to know: the market's on a hot streak. The Nasdaq is still in the longest run since January. We will see if this continues. WeWork was once valued at $47 billion. Now it's once again, and this claims that the office sharing company is in the throes of the bankruptcy process. After its filing, we're seeing about $16 billion in long-term leases, and they're trying to renegotiate them. So it's very sad to see this. They were very heavily impacted by quick downfalls since the pandemic, and this could be very disappointing, unfortunately. When it comes to Disney and these other companies, the Hollywood actors strike is still continuing to drag on. This is very important, and this is going to have a big effect on like other companies from Disney to the Warner Bros. And maybe even AMC. Nintendo powered up its outlook for the fiscal year, and this is some great news for them as they're expanding their business into different franchises, different movie companies, and other things like that. So it's great news for them. Their movies have been killing it. They have The Legend of Zelda, not to mention the new Super Mario movie, which is just incredible. I'm very excited for what else is about to come. And besides that, we're going to be watching to see any other changes. But that's it for now for the main pieces of news affecting the markets. Now let's break down the charts. Tesla's looking bearish overall. It is possible it tries to pump a bit more towards 220, if not 222.5. And above that, we technically have 225, but it's looking like it's going to be topping very soon here and just continue to range trade for a bit before it breaks down. Watch 216.8 as some support. If we lose that, watch 215 to 214. If we lose 214, watch 212, 210, and these lower levels. If we lose 212 either today or over the next few days, Tesla's going to likely sink towards the gap fill at 205. So there's going to be a risk of some downside. We also have the head and shoulders like pattern, so this could lead to some more selling. However, even though we have a head and shoulders on Tesla, look at the daily, it's going to be okay because we also have an inverse head and shoulders on the daily. Because when you look at the chart, right, Tesla could sink down to 205 or even 202 and still be bullish, right? We have an inverse head and shoulders. We have a left shoulder here, a head. We could sink in from a right shoulder and then bounce later on thanks to the Cybertruck event. I think that's what's going to happen, so we'll be watching this very carefully. As far as SPY goes, I want to call out SPY right here. SPY is once again trying to hold up. We're going to be watching it very carefully. The thing about SPY is we could be forming a flag right now. So we're going to be watching to see if we remain in this channel. This is going to be very important to watch for, especially going into tomorrow. Uh, in my opinion, here's what I think is going to happen. I think ultimately SPY is going to break down. We're going to see downside in the future. Okay, I've been saying that from before. It's just that before the downside comes, we could see this thing remain range bound or maybe get one more pop thanks to Jerome Powell. But either way, I see this thing in a topping process, and I think that this is due for downside. Based off the VIX, the SQQQ, and other factors, those also contribute. So if we don't get the last pop and we just like trade sideways, watch 433 as critical support. If we lose 433 on SPY, I think it's going to fill the gap towards 430.8. We're going to see more downside. That's critical support, the 433s. For resistance, you're going to be watching. Currently, we have resistance at 435. If we 435.3 around this range where this channel happens to be. If we break above this 436 to 436.5 will be tested. There's 437 and 438 above that. It could remain in this range for some time, and we'll see if Jerome Powell causes any more pieces of volatility or not. And we'll see if this breaks out or not, but I expect it to be range bound for the time being. Unless we lose 433, then I would turn bearish. But I'm thinking it's going to kind of range trade for a bit, and we're going to break 433 later on. So I lean in the direction of there being a later drop, but for now we might see this thing range trade just like other tickers. If you look at the QQQ, this thing is actually trying to break its high. We're currently getting very close to 370. Above this, watch 370.5, 371, 372.5, and then we have 374. And then for support, you're going to be watching this 368 area. If we lose this, watch 366. Now, in my opinion, I think that this thing could get very close to this 370 area, but no matter whether it pumps more or not, I think it's in a topping process. I think that it could pop a little bit more and just try to find a top very soon. It's going to stay within this range. These levels right here are going to contain it. We're going to see some sideways price action up here. And then later on, we're going to see Jerome Powell cause some more volatility, and a sell-off is going to come later on to start filling some of these gaps below. So for now, I see the market just range trading. We could pop a little bit more, but then I eventually see a sell-off coming, and I think it's going to affect Nvda as well. Nvda is currently at 456. We're going to likely just be stuck between 450 and 460 for some time. We could even get a little above 460 to test 462. If we break that and watch 465. But I'm thinking that what's going to happen is we kind of range trade a bit. If Powell pumps the market, we could get one last little pump before we start selling off. And I think that ultimately Nvidia is going to cool off and break below 450. Watch 448, 444, 442, and 438 as supports. It's going to break down eventually. Before the breakdown happens, it might be range bound and maybe pop a little bit. So watch that very carefully. For Aapl, it's the same thing. Aapl is basically getting very close to this resistance right here at this 180 area. If we break this, we could see this thing just kind of top between 180 and 182. We're very close to 180, so we have some tight resistance coming. I think that Aapl is in the topping process. We're going to find a top very soon, and we're eventually going to reject. And I think that Aapl just needs a bit more time. It's going to be range bound for some time, just like the markets. So watch 178 as key support. If we lose that, watch 176.5, 175.5, and 175. For resistance, we have one basically very close to 180, 179.5 to 180, then 181, and then 182. I think that it's going to be range bound. It might break a little higher depending on Jerome Powell's speech on Wednesday. But then later on, I see Aapl declining and cooling off with the markets. That's what I think is going to happen. All right, guys. So Tesla's looking weaker than the market. Tesla may pop a bit more, but we're likely going to see this thing sell off a bit soon. And this is just going to be a much different structure as time goes on. So expect some short-term downside and some medium-term upside for Tesla. That's what I'm seeing in the charts. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks again, and peace out.